What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here, and yeah, today I have a really special video. I'm really excited about it. You've probably already seen it in the title, but I'll be interviewing Eric Monacelli from Naughty Dog. So first of all, Eric, could you please introduce yourself to the viewers and pretty much talk about what you do at Naughty Dog?
Hey Robin. So yeah, my name's Eric Monacelli. I'm a community strategist at Naughty Dog. Basically, I function as a sort of spokesperson externally with our fans and with our teams that we work with. Mainly the publishing side, like Sony and those guys, on everything from community to PR to marketing to what time of day we want to put something live to like a bunch of different stuff. So that's kind of my role. It's a fun gig, really great studio, so happy to be here.
Right, okay, yeah, great. Yeah, first of all, I just really want to thank you for being here, willing to do this with me, because there's a lot of people on my channel who are big fans of Uncharted, The Last of Us, and Naughty Dog in general, so I guess I can speak for us all when I say that we're all very excited, and we can't wait to hear what you will be telling us.
Yeah, no, your channel's awesome, man. Like, I love it. You make some of our best videos, and getting you up on U3 Uncharted TV is awesome. So
yeah,
thanks for having me.
It really means a lot to me. Okay, so I've got 10 questions for you. Half of them are about Uncharted 3, half of them about The Last of Us. But I gotta quickly start off about just a question that people would be shouting and swearing at me if I wasn't gonna ask you this, even though that the answer probably won't be as satisfying. But to get this out of the way, is there anything that you can share us about what Naughty Dog is doing right now at all, like in particular the Uncharted team?
Yeah, I mean, really what we have here is there's two teams. We don't really view them as the Uncharted team and the Last of Us team. We just kind of view them as two teams, so they're developing stuff. The biggest thing we're doing right now is we're working on porting our engine to the PS4, because we're basically taking the Naughty Dog engine as it is and then making it work with this new really rad system we have to work with. So that's going on pretty hot and heavy right now. We're working on Last of Us DLC. That stuff is cruising along. We're gonna have information soon about the first season pass DLC drop. We just kicked out interrogation mode. That was quite a lot of work. And then we have Uncharted 3 stuff that we're working on, a lot of it. We're gonna do some really cool stuff for the anniversary.
Okay, sounds awesome. So I want to start off, just looking back at Uncharted 3, the oldest game of the two, that I'll be asking you about. So, I want to first talk about that split, So you worked on Uncharted 3 with a smaller team then, I guess, but kind of for the same time period as you did with Uncharted 1 and 2, I guess, 2 years. So did that feel as a, big risk to Naughty Dog?
Well, yeah, the time period was the same, but the notion of a smaller team, it's kind of a misnomer because we did have a lot of staff. I mean, we have a lot of staff that comes and goes, right? We have some contract people that'll, towards the end of a project, or when we need people, basically, we bring them in and we hire them to work on stuff. And here it's really highly collaborative. So, if you're working on one project, you might be sitting next to a guy who's working on something else, but you guys are both doing design or whatever, or you're doing programming. You're always going to be bouncing ideas off one another. You're always going to be sharing. Our whole library is shared, so all the tech and back end is shared between the two teams. So it's a really common platform. Justin Richmond, for instance, is known as the game director on Uncharted 3, but he had quite a lot of input into The Last of Us and just, play tests and things he talked to Neil and Bruce about. So, we're always talking. We're always, there's a lot of intermingling between the teams. So I don't really feel like the biggest risk we took in the last few years was doing a new IP. It's kind of risky to do one at the end of a console cycle because if The Last of Us had flopped, we would have been all right. So what now? But we're pretty happy with how that turned out.
Right. Okay. Cool. So Uncharted 3, of course, was an amazing game, but still, like, people did have, some sort of criticism in general, towards like certain aspects, especially single player, I guess, where Uncharted 2 was really like praised a lot and almost seen as perfect in every way. So, how did you feel about that, and what have you learned from that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard for me to say from like a purely developer standpoint, since I came on to Naughty Dog around when Uncharted 3 was going on. I didn't work on Uncharted 2 here at all, except for some, historical stuff. Yeah. So personally, just speaking personally, Uncharted 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I thought Uncharted 3 was excellent. I could see, criticisms for both games that had come through. I feel like the multiplayer experience you get with Uncharted 3 is so much more robust than Uncharted 2, and that's because we put a lot of time and effort to amp that up, and so I feel like we've learned a lot of lessons on what works in multiplayer and what works well there. There's some set pieces in Uncharted 3 that we didn't even have the tech in place for Uncharted 2, like the airplane sequence and sort of like the water, the pirate ship, how that moved and stuff. So like getting that built up, you continually learn new tricks as you go along. And I feel like we learned a lot between the two games, and whatever we do next, it's gonna just kind of amplify that.
Right. Okay. So one question I really I was really interested in is, why did you decide to support Uncharted 3 multiplayer so much compared to Uncharted 2? I mean, the game is like almost 2 years old now, and we only just had a new block match map, for example, and just the way there's been so many patches and DLC and support. Why did you decide to support it so much over Uncharted 2?
Well, I think one of the biggest reasons is we have more people on staff now. Mm-hmm. For instance, like I came on when Uncharted 3 was, as I mentioned earlier, so I feel like there's a little bit more of a crew to support it that are full time, and working on the project. And I also feel like the sort of thrust of Uncharted 3 was we wanted to really dive into multiplayer and make it really big, a meaty kind of game. And so we wanted to keep that support going and see how that does. And also, frankly, we're moving on to a new console generation. There's a lot of different sort of ways to engage with games out there. So we wanted to try some new things with Uncharted 3. So we went free to play, for instance. Yeah. We're going to try something else down the road here. That's all I'm going to say. I'm teasing about it. But it's pretty big and pretty awesome for the anniversary. So I think that we just have had the means to support it, and also a system in place. The multiplayer itself is so meaty that we could really sink our teeth into it.
Right. Okay. I have one final question about Uncharted 3, and this is kind of like more of a personal question to you, not really about the company. Many people, like I've seen many people complaining about new skins and colors for clothing and all that sort of stuff for months. And I've seen you having to deal with that for a long time. And personally, like, it really irritated me myself how people were asking for this all the time, because it doesn't really add much to the gameplay. So how do you personally feel about the way people kept complaining and asking for stuff like that?
I mean, it's an aesthetic thing. You're right. It's not really about gameplay, but some people like to play games for those reasons. I mean, I really believe there's a great Tim Schafer quote that he talks about how all games are wish fulfillment. So some people play it for that reason. Like you want to be in that role and you want to be that sort of person and sort of embody that character. So there were some calls. This one guy would joke on me with Twitter that he wanted some pink boots and a skull mask and that sort of thing. And I don't know if he really wanted it. Maybe he did, and I feel like we got the color pink in there for him, and so now maybe his boots can be pink. But that sort of stuff, it makes the game a little bit more your own, and you get to own it. And for multiplayer, I think that stuff, personally for me, multiplayer, that's cool. Customize that up as much as possible, unless you have a multiplayer that's really directed. Like, I don't think having those customization options in our co-op mode wouldn't make any sense, because we're telling like a little mini story in the co-op. If you did it in single player, it doesn't make any sense, because we're having characters. But for our competitive multiplayer, I think it's totally cool. And frankly, people asking for the skins and colors, it kind of gives us an idea of what they want. And as we pointed out when we launched the theme DLC, that thread about the colors that we had in the summer beta up till now went on forever, and we did definitely have more colors in, and all it was a matter of like optimizing what we thought was important for gameplay. And then our community said to us, these colors are important for us playing the game, so we did our best to get them in there. It took a little longer than usual, but that was due to our production schedules and shifting, that sort of thing. So okay. I feel like people, I don't really view it as complaining. I view it just as desires. That's what people want, and it's just kind of filtering out those people that are going to be mean about it versus constructive about it. There are a lot of people that are super constructive, and that's actually helpful for us as developers. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, so that was pretty much it for Uncharted 3. Now I want to move on to The Last of Us.